Ms. Bashian, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Kramlich,
Here.
Mrs. Marshall, Mrs. Rick,
Here.
Ms. Snell,
Present.
Mrs. Stroup, Mrs. Weaver,
Here.
and Mr. Redding.
Present. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America. Republic which is and justice for all. This evening, there was an executive session regarding student matters. Regarding our public comment protocol, there are two opportunities for the public to comment at each board meeting. The first is at the beginning of the meeting and is limited to only items on the agenda. The second is at the end of the meeting and may be on any topic. The public comment of the board provides the public an opportunity to address the board, but is not a question and answer period. Those who speak are asked to complete a form found on the front desk and place it in the basket. When you are called to speak, please come to the microphone and state your name for the record. Those wishing to present private concerns or questions needing follow-up outside the board may do so by submitting a contact card, also available on the front desk. To provide all interested residents with the opportunity to speak, each speaker during the public comment portion is limited to 5 minutes of speaking once recognized, and limited to one opportunity to address the board during each of the public comment periods. If necessary, the board may set a maximum time for the public comment portion of any meeting or conclude the public comment portion at its discretion. During your comment, please refrain from using someone's name. Instead, you may refer to a board member, the board, or the administration, etc. The board president reserves the right to end the speaker's comment if an individual engages in personal attacks or fails to adhere to district policy or proper decorum expected for a public meeting. This is a reminder that public comment is not a forum for personal attacks, antagonistic behavior, or harassment, and be advised that you are accountable for any legal ramifications and liability that may result from statements that misrepresent the truth, defame individuals, or discloses personal information that is not a public concern. Board members, there is a 2023-2024 board meeting event schedule attached for your convenience. And as usual, you're encouraged to submit any questions, concerns, or commendations to myself, Mr. Geller, and Mr. Kramlich. I'm looking for a motion this evening to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include 11.6 regarding student expulsion, number 23-24.03, effective October 6, 2023 through December 14, 2023. This will also add an action item 23.18, approval of student expulsion, number 23-24-03.
Second.
Discussion. Okay, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Thank you. Back to discussion regarding the amended agenda. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the work session of the school board held on October 2nd, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. We're up to our first public comment for items on the agenda.
None.
None received. Good evening, ladies. How are you this evening?
Good evening, board members. I'm so happy to be back. The field hockey team had an excellent season, but as our first quarter draws to a close, there's so much that's been happening around the district. So to start,
recently on Thursday, October 12th, the high school held the annual fall family conferences where parents can check in with teachers and communicate students' progress where advancement is priority.
Since our last school board meeting, our Bobcat students throughout the district all took their fall pictures. These pictures are added to the yearbook, so hopefully they're all happy with the result.
This past week was Homecoming Spirit Week with the annual homecoming dance on Saturday. On Wednesday, the 11th, a team from each grade battled in a powder puff tournament. The junior and senior teams faced off in a championship, which was so stressful to watch, must I say. And resulting, the junior class of 2025 won the whole tournament. So congrats to all of them. It was a very tough game. And the powder puff tournament raised $3,000 for Minithon and Pink Power of York at the concession stand. And the following day, students cozied up in front of the roaring bonfire.
Yes. Then on Friday, Bobcats filled the stands for the homecoming football game. The students that won the vote for homecoming royalty were announced, where Addison Lehman was announced as queen, Michaela Coleman as princess, Hayden Dallum as king, and Ron Waif as prince.
And during homecoming week, PSATs were orchestrated on October 11th. It was a chaotic day with Pink Out Spirit Day and testing going on. And during testing, College Board crashed. And so everyone taking it online this year had parts of their times lost. So guidance after this fiasco offered 3 options to students who completed the test at no additional cost to students or families, which included students being able to retest, which will cancel the exam taken on October 11th, or they could cancel their score with no score report recorded, or they can keep their exam as is and accept the score earned. And students who are deciding to retest or have not taken the PSAT will be signed up for the exam on October 31st, 2023.
Later this week on October 19th, York Haven will have their annual Scarecrow Night where families are welcome to come and make scarecrows.
And continuing with York Haven, AR events where reading is encouraged among students in order to receive or attend the prize at the end of the year has been started. And there is a required amount of points for each grade to achieve, which are earned through tests based on accuracy of the book they read. And along with this, schools have been hosting events for students to get ahead in the AR point process where books are read and tests are taken in groups. And one of the upcoming AR events is at York Haven, October 23rd at 6 p.m.
Additionally, to touch on Mount Wolf Elementary School, they have a super busy week. Kindergarten and first grade bus safety presentations are happening. A visit by the author Dwayne Abel and Picture Day are all happening. The fun continues next week, though, with Red Ribbon Week, and they continue that we are continuing to be drug and alcohol free. The fall book fair and the annual trunk or treat night are also next week. I think this year is off to a great start.
And to give attention to the Northeastern Middle School, their annual Halloween dance is being held October 26th, where many middle school students are able to party hard and safely with some spooky decorations.
As our fall sports draw to a close, the athletic department will be hosting the varsity and junior varsity fall sports awards ceremony on Thursday, the 2nd of November at 7 p.m. In the high school auditorium. So all JV and varsity students are encouraged to attend. They must be present to receive their fall awards and certificates. And so with that, we're going to start transitioning into our winter sports. And so open gyms and preparation for our winter sports are commencing.
And as mentioned earlier, the first marking period is coming to a close on October 27th. Many students in the high school will have to study for finals and prepare for some new classes, while others in the district will have to restart their grades. So I think it's definitely going to be a nice break for a lot of the students and staff. And with mid-October, the days are starting to blend together, in my opinion. But despite that, I look forward to all the events that are happening this month. And I'm looking forward to supporting my peers as we are accomplishing so much in such little time. But with all these events, it's my own way of tracking the days. And I'm sure everyone in the district is also looking forward to the end of the first marking period. And that's all we have to report today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fantastic report as usual. We appreciate you. The Northeastern Education Association, I received an email from Mrs. Weaver. They were unable to make it tonight, but she would like to share the following. The middle school library was awarded a $3,000 grant from the AASL, the American Association of School Librarians, for a STEM event. community and careers. I want to be a blank. The grant funds were used to purchase equipment that will be distributed to teams for their use following the event. The event is scheduled for Thursday, October 19th from 3 to 8 p.m. And this event is designed to increase student awareness of the wide array of careers available to them following graduation. Registered guests will create, with the support of a trained student tech team, green screen videos sharing aspect of their varied careers. The videos will be housed in a shared drive that the morning newscast team, bless you, and can access to air videos throughout the rest of the school year. The 8th graders already completed a career research project for their information literacy course, and the event is designed to promote interest in exploring careers, especially ones that might not be aware of, and what the different careers involve. They are looking for guests interested in participating. About 70+ local businesses have been contacted. So they are asking us to share the word and contact Deb Hoover at the middle school if you have any questions or suggestions of someone to contact. Photos of the event will be posted at a later date. And that's all she had provided. That's a fantastic grant that the middle school received. Up next, Mr. Geller, Acting Superintendent report, please.
So I will come back to my report. Before I start, ladies, the report that you're given, I've been watching these reports for 20+ years. The fact that the high school students are delving into K through 12, remarkable. Seriously, one of the best reports that I have ever seen, listened to. Please keep it up. It's awesome. Tonight we have Ruth Ackerman. She is the executive director of the York Adams Academy. We are a longtime member district, and she has a presentation for us this evening. I got a chance to preview it. I think you're very much going to enjoy it.
Thank you. I really appreciate being here. Again, I am Ruth Ackerman. I was in the West York Area School District for 24 years teaching high school English, took over at York Adams 3 years ago. So love it. One of the best things I've ever done. Gives me an opportunity to really work with kids. We are a credit recovery high school. You are one of the member districts. We partner with 18 different school districts. West Shore School District just jumped on board 2 years ago. I'm sorry, 2 years. This is year 2 for them. So it's been nice having them on board to be part of what we're doing. So you can look at the York County school districts, and then you can go ahead and flip to there's our Adams County school districts. We do have 2 locations. So our York location is our largest. The Adams County location is a much smaller facility, and we house about 15 to 20 kids on a regular basis. There's an influx, but that's about the average for that site. It was closed for a couple of years, but there was a dire need to bring it back and go back in live session. So we opened it back up Monday through Thursday. And I'll show you the times here in a few minutes, but the qualifications to get into York Adams Academy are listed up there. So the students must be 17 years of age. They have to pass the TABE entrance exam. They have to have a minimum of 10 credits. I will tell you that that is flexible to a point. We have had some kids come in that are at maybe 9 credits, 9.5 credits. But I do have very frank conversations with them about how long they're going to be there and what it takes to get those credits done. Because only coming in with 9 credits at 17 years of age means you're going to be with us for a little while. So we want to make sure kids understand that. And we do have that conversation with them, and I have it with the parents. So everybody's on the same page. All the stakeholders are involved in that conversation. But that is a little flexible. I think it was pretty rigid prior to my takeover, but I'm a softie, so I want to help kids get to the end game. That's my ultimate goal. They do need to have their own transportation. I will say there have been a few districts that have jumped on board to provide transportation to YAA, but that is not traditional. Dallastown just started providing transportation to students this year. Spring Grove provides transportation. Bermudian Springs provides transportation for their kids. So just a few districts. There was some talk maybe about some districts partnering, kind of the Red Lion, Dallastown loop, and maybe sharing the cost of providing transportation. I think what I have seen over the last couple of years is that's been a bit of a reason why kids aren't coming. They don't have the transportation to get there. But we cannot provide it. So that's a district level decision. So kids know that from the get-go. We do talk to them about being self-motivated. We are the old school paper, pencil, textbook, workbook. We do have computers that they can use, but the kids, I will tell you, are thrilled to not have to sit online and do online schoolwork. They love that we hand them that 25-pound textbook with a workbook, and they go running with it. So they do have to be self-motivated. We are not a direct instruction. This is kind of a work at your own pace. We have teachers to work with the kids should they need assistance with anything, but they come in and this is really on your own, get it done. As soon as you earn that credit, we update your transcript and you move on to the next course. We are allowing them to kind of pick and choose where they want to start and which courses they want to start with. That's part of the flexibility of our program. Everything's divided into a half credit, so they can finish 1 half credit of English and maybe they jump to math and finish a half credit. Then they jump to social studies, which really does provide a lot of flexibility for kids to keep them moving if they are in a subject they're not really thrilled about. They do need to have all their updated immunizations, and we do ask for an Act 26 violations sheet to make sure that they're cleared and not, in risk of suspension or have been suspended. So those are pretty much the basic qualifications. I have offered to meet with school districts to go in and talk to guidance counselors, administrators, teachers to really kind of help identify a kid that might be a right fit for York Adams Academy. It's not the best place for everybody, but it does provide an alternative setting for those kids that meet those qualifications and are looking for another way to get to graduation. You can go ahead. Thank you. Those are our times. Adams County is only Monday through Thursday. Friday is a remote day. So for us, that means they check in for attendance. And we have the capabilities to Zoom with them should they need help at home working on anything. Monday through Friday in our York County, 8 to 11 a.m. or 11:15 to 2:15 p.m. They can choose their session. Again, part of the flexibility. A lot of kids are working around their work schedules. So they choose whether they want to come in for the first 3 hours or midday 3 hours. We do also offer an evening session, but that is only Monday through Thursday, and it goes a little bit longer. It's 5 to 8:45 p.m. I typically check in with the evening kids about twice a month. They certainly can email me and, communicate with me whenever, but I physically go in about 2 nights a month just to touch base with all of the kids and make sure that we're all on the same page and everybody's doing well. We have teachers that staff the evening session on a regular basis. Thank you. Those are the graduation requirements. We do require 23 credits and they're broken down there for you. Very similar to many districts in the county. We do have a career awareness project that is specific to York Adams Academy, and that's a credit. So what happens when a student rolls in to York Adams is I take their transcript from their home district and I create an educational plan based on the credits that they have and those that they still need. In addition to this, Dr. Mancuso, who is our superintendent of record from Eastern York School District, has worked with the superintendents in both counties to look over a document that I've created for Act 158, which is the Keystone Pathway requirements. So they've agreed upon that document. So I use that document then to create a pathway for students that haven't met the Act 158 requirements, haven't passed the ASVAB or, any of the other pathways. We do satisfy that with the kids before they are able to graduate with us. Go ahead, sorry. So since 1990, we have had 4,445, actually 47 graduates. We just had one on Friday and one today. So by the time I made the PowerPoint, we've had more graduates, 2 of which are yours. So those are the numbers since I took over. But since, and actually the 23-24 is now a 3. You had one graduate Friday and one graduate today before I walked out of the building. But since 1990, Northeastern has 361 graduates from York Adams Academy. It's a pretty impressive number. And then the last screen I have up there, just a few pictures of your kiddos from the time I've been here. A couple of them up there on that screen have started their own landscaping company, and they're working together. You've got a couple in the military. You've got a couple in trade school for welding. So a bunch of great kids. We really love working with them. Anything we can do to get them to the end game. The first year I took over, I think we had 92 graduates. Last year we had 101. So we're moving in the right direction. The numbers are good. The kids are easy to work with. You know, and we love the participation with your district. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I love getting to school boards and in districts to talk about what we are, who we are, and what we can do for these kids to help them find another pathway to graduation. Sometimes the traditional setting just isn't the right fit for every kid. And we hope that we can be that fit or help them find what works for them. So I appreciate it. Anybody have any questions?
I really-
Yes.
Nope, I just really have more of a comment.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
sorry.
I want to thank you for coming. You know, you
Yeah.
guys are a great partner of ours, great resource. Like you said, sometimes the traditional route doesn't work for everyone. So you guys help get those kids over the finish line with the same diploma as they're walking across our stage. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I will say that it has been a pleasure working with districts since I took over. And I will say that I proposed last year that districts allow their students to walk in their home graduation ceremony if, you know, it's their traditional graduation year, it's their class. And every district that I've spoken to has agreed to let kids walk in their home ceremony should they choose to do that. As long as they participate in ours, there's no reason that they can't walk with their class with people that they've graduated with. So the partnership between districts is just incredible, and I appreciate it. You guys have been wonderful to work with. Your counselors are incredible. It's, you know, it's not about us, it's about the kids. And that partnership and the way we work together has proven that. And they're, you know, I hope to, I said to my husband, I could stay in this job forever. I know you want me to retire someday, but I could stay here forever. I really could. I love doing what I'm doing. I love being with these kids. So I appreciate it. I'd love to come back anytime. I'll come into the buildings and talk with counselors. So I appreciate this opportunity. I really do. Thank you for having me tonight.
Yeah, Jim.
Yeah, I this was for the benefit of the board members who don't have as much experience with York Adams. I remember taking over from Linda Morningstar, and one of the things that stuck in my mind is there wasn't a lot of volunteers. I don't think anyone wanted to drive to York Adams, which really isn't that far. And she said to me, it's going to be one of the most rewarding things you do. And she was absolutely right. I really miss the York Adams board. The work that you're doing is phenomenal. For a certain type of student, it is all hugely important to get those 12 or whatever across the line every year that would not make it otherwise. So it's a fantastic program that you're providing to all of York and Adams County, and we're grateful for the services that you provide. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. And I'll tell you, the kids love it. You know, the kids are grateful to be there. They're thankful, but they don't forget their home teachers and their home counselors. The one graduate that walked out today, her name is Shania Moore. She walked out today and I said, Mrs. Gamber is going to be so proud of you. She said, well, she better come to my graduation ceremony because that woman helped me and I was in her office every day. I said, well, I'll make sure she knows. So we do invite you all to graduation every year. We send the invites out. So certainly forward them to everybody that should get them.
And 2 graduations a year.
We have 2 graduations a year. Thank you, Mr. Redding. I didn't include that. January 24th is our first one and May 30th is our second graduation ceremony.
And to get to one is very rewarding. So I would.
I'll tell you, they're a little different. They're a little more exciting. They're a little more spirited, might be a good word. Parents are thrilled that these kids actually have made it. And they, you know, for some of these parents, they never thought they'd see the kids walk the stage. We, on the other hand, have great faith and we're cheering them on and we're, you know, pushing behind the scenes and they're, you know, kids are proud of themselves. They really are.
It's a
And
little bit like a middle school party.
it kind of is.
I'm
we're-
just
we're
referring to our.
happy with Yeah, but it's responsible. It's responsible. Yes. So thank you again. I really appreciate it. Feel free anytime to reach out. I'm always excited to get emails and come and present and talk about YAA and what we do.
Mrs. Ackerman, thank you very much for coming. I do have one question from an organizational standpoint. Is there anything that Northeastern can do for the YAA to strengthen the organizational bond? You had mentioned transportation.
Transportation could be helpful to some of
Okay.
these kids. We are now just talking as a team about building some more electives for our kids. Our curriculum in some areas, I think, is a little slim. So we're looking to partner with some districts and maybe share some electives to offer to the kids. So
Okay,
I will be back in touch on that. Thank you.
thank you.
I appreciate it. But transportation, I mean, the kids, the problem I've seen is the kids have transportation when they start and then something falls through. Parent job changes or a car breaks down and then they just can't get there. So I have tried and adjusted and, you know, we've created different schedules for different kids to still keep them in the program and keep them moving when they don't have transportation. But that seems to be the biggest hiccup in getting kids to us on a regular basis.
Hmm.
So.
Regarding our seats, and this is the administration. I mean, they're recommending how many seats we should buy, but are more school districts buying additional seats at this point? Are they subscribing? You're seeing an increase or is it really staying 7?
We're kind of staying status quo.
Okay,
I will say, you know, there's always that period of time where there's a significant wait list. You know, right now I've got about 5 districts who have 6 or 7 kids on a wait list and we're waiting for kids to finish up. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer for these kids. You know, we ask the kids to earn at least a half a credit a month. But if you're coming in needing 12 credits, it could take a while before you finish up if you're only doing a half a credit a month. Some kids speed through their stuff and they do really well, but we ask the counselors to explain to those kids on the wait list, it could be a little while before you have an opportunity to get in. You know, and I'm pushing constantly to kids, not to the point where they're angry, but I do, and I know it's going to sound crazy. I do know what every kid is working on. I know where they are. I know what they're doing. So I can kind of push a little bit. I touch base with every kid every day. Just because they're my kids and I want to make sure we get them to where they need to be. But I also know that there are kids waiting to get in. So we have to kind of balance how long a kid can be there and what we need to do to move them along a little faster in the kindest way possible. Yeah. So they're about average 12 to, you know, anywhere from 10 to 12. There are a couple of districts that have 15 seats. So
okay.
yeah, it's like I said, it's a windfall some days. You know, we had 2 Northeastern kids graduate within 2 days. So now you have 2 spots opened up pretty quickly. So.
Any additional questions or comments? Well, Mrs. Ackerman, we thank you again for coming out. We appreciate hearing from
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Come
you.
to one of our graduations. Feel free to come and tour our facility as well. Check it out if you ever want to stop in and just see what we do and see where we are. We always welcome guests to come in. So thank you again. I appreciate
you.
it.
Some of the other items that are listed under the acting superintendent report, there is the academics and operations report. This is a compilation report put together by the folks that you see in the back of the room. They're doing a fantastic job. I've been learning so much from the educational side of the house. The things that I have listed that I just want to make mention publicly is I want to give a shout out to John Carlisle and Stephanie Myers and all the 5th grade teachers for preparing their students for JA BizTown. That is an activity that takes place every year. The adults love seeing the kids. They come in so well prepared. I think this year, at least personally, I thought they were more well prepared this year than some of the years that I've been part of it. Maybe I just got an excellent group, but the kids were so excited. They're going to break it up into 2 groups, and BizTown is going to be on October 23rd and 24th. Another shout out I want to give to relates to homecoming. Ryan Middleton and the Student Senate, they did a fantastic job this week. The bonfire was rather hot, and we're very happy that it stayed under control. We had local fire departments there monitoring that. I want to give a shout out to the high school PTO for homecoming, the York County Corvette Club. We did have a medical situation at homecoming, so a shout out to Nurse Heather Miller. And of course, the high school administrators, they did their day job and then they did their night job called homecoming week. So Dr. Sika, Amanda Soto, Brian Izzy, Randy Payne, thank you very much for all the extra work you did. On the operational side of the house, I attended the York County School Technology budget. It was a superintendent's meeting, and I had that as an attachment. And I just wanted to share a couple of things because we have been a district that has voted on principle to say no if the rate of increase was going to exceed the index. Our index this year, or across the county, is 5.2%. If you take a look at the notes that I put together on basically a $30 million spending plan, they currently have a deficit of $561,000, which means the member districts would have a rate increase of 2.39%. In the question and answer session, their business manager and their director said that is the highest the rate would be. They're going to move this budget along to the JOC to take a look at. So again, the highest rate of increase to the members looks like about a 2.93% increase, which is less than the 5.2. In the middle paragraph, if and when the state budget is finalized on some of the outstanding pieces, there's some other additional asks that they would like to do, which is to the tune of about 0.6 additional costs, but that should be offset by the basic ed funding that comes in. There was some questions that and then there's also, they have a capital reserve fund that will stay at $900,000. They plan on returning and dividing up among the member districts $683,000. I asked a couple long-term questions in terms of, would it be better to keep the $683,000 in the capital reserve fund to be able to use for future uses? Bless you. That's being taken under advisement. I asked during the session as it relates to the development of the budget, part of the reason why the increases have been so high for the last several years is they took in through the health insurance as a member of the Lincoln Benefit Trust, they were taking funding holidays, which means they were paying 11/12 of their claims. I confirmed that they're no longer doing that. The other question that I asked was the rate of increase for next year has dropped from about 30% to 5.5%. And I just said, have they given consideration to be prepaying into the account to be able to keep the reserves higher as Northeastern does? What is your 5-year actuarial look from Conrad Siegel? And the business manager replied that it is right around trend. So that's comforting to know that they are no longer their ship is no longer heading into the dire straits that they were for a while. They seem like they have taken care of and addressed the reason why this district was voting no for several years. So I thought that was good. The other piece that they talked about, just maybe a cautionary flag to put out there, is they did talk about that they would like to expand the cautionary good, bad, right? So the good side is they would like to expand. And with that, of course, they want to increase the enrollment. Downside is there would be a facilities and there would be a bond issue cost to that. So one of the superintendents recommended that millage be factored into the budget and start paying on that. The only thing that I countered was, what is the plan? And so after I asked that and they had a discussion, they decided to take pause on that, not adjust the budget, and really work towards a plan to be able to put some meat on it to be able to say, well, is this a $20 million project we want? Is this a $35 million project? And really sit down and I don't know what it would be. It might be a $1 project, but just to be able to put a plan together before you start tying any sort of millage increases, because they would be solely borne by the members. Do you have any other questions as it relates to the York County School of Tech?
No, but that makes a lot more sense to what they're going through, because sometimes we don't get to see that kind of picture, so it's good to hear it.
Would it be mandatory for us to pay if they did wind up deciding and voting on doing that?
A prepayment of millage,
Yeah, like we would have to.
yes. We could vote no, but you have to go with the majority as a member. So at the table, it's going to be further investigated. Other superintendents weighed in and said, like the idea, good planning tool. We did that here at the district, but it was walking along the same time that we had Cowder and Kelly, who had came together with a study and gave us a good idea of what we were looking at. The one other thing that I would like to address just briefly is the high school intruder incident. It was something that I'm not going to comment a lot on, just to recognize that even though that incident had taken place, there still is ongoing behind the scenes a matter that will be addressed from a criminal and disciplinary matter. And during that day, it was not a perfect response, as no response will be. However, this response was mitigated within, I believe, 28 minutes. First communication went out in 7 minutes. The amount of technology that the district has invested, the only analogy that keeps coming to mind is you walk into a hospital and you're sitting in the hospital room where it's couches and things. I'm thinking of maternity ward and everything is nice. So the analogy is you're having school and you have an instructional day. And like that, it turns into an operating room. And like that, we turned into a place that was able to respond very quickly and be able to neutralize and figure out exactly what was going on. So the parents that were maybe concerned and calling in understand that if we don't have perfect responses, we never will. But I will say in 2023, Northeastern School District is probably the best prepared it has ever been. So I feel as though in my heart of hearts that kids and parents should feel comfortable, not perfect, can't promise anything, but feel relatively comfortable sending their kids to Northeastern School District. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Geller, for the excellent report. I do want to comment too and thank the response. When things like that are occurring, you literally have fractions of a second to make decisions, and those things unfold rather quickly. And to hear that the response was as well as it went is fantastic news. And so, you know, as I said before, you can put these things in place, but and have trainings, but when it happens, it normally not necessarily follows the textbook. And so things may not go smoothly, but we had a great response, and I appreciate everyone involved with that. So thank you to the team who took care of that issue for us. Also regarding the York County School of Technology, it's great to hear your thoughts on their budget. Yes, by principle, we were pushing back on how they were managing their budget and increasing above what we would ask our taxpayers to do here in Northeastern, which is why we voted no quite a bit. But when I also hear a potential construction project on the horizon, one of the things that concerned me is their last project, which was really, an over-the-top gym on par with, colleges in the county. And so when we can't provide I'm not saying that this is wrong, but when you go and make it more extravagant than it needs to be, and you just bill the sending districts, I just think philosophically that's wrong. So I hope when they look at another project, it's more austere than the one that we recently experienced. So thank you. Any additional comments from Mr. Geller? Okay, moving on to committee reports. Academic Affairs, Mrs. Weaver.
The first that I have to report, Commonwealth University MOU in form of a motion. Recommendation is made to approve the MOU between Northeastern District and Commonwealth University. Also have overnight conference request in the form of a motion. This is a overnight conference request, again, in form of a motion. This is a recommendation made to approve the request of 3 staff members. Mrs. Shannon Oliver, Miss Brianna Weaver, and Mrs. Lorraine Coombs to attend the Pennsylvania Education Technology Expo and Conference at the Hershey Lodge and Convention Center. This will be in February, the 5th through the 7th. The estimated total expense for the conference is $997.70 for 2 nights of lodging, mileage plus the cost of 1 substitute for 3 days. The Pennsylvania Educational Technology Expo and Conference is a statewide event, provides quality programs focused on technology in the educational field. So each year, hundreds of exhibitors showcase their latest technology products and services to the vast audience of teachers, administrators, technology directors, school board members, and more. Monday and Tuesday mornings have Monday and Tuesday mornings kick off with keynote speakers that will both educate and inspire. So Mrs. Oliver, Miss Weaver, and Mrs. Coombs each have presentations accepted to present at the statewide conference. So their registration is free. With being selected to present at the statewide conference, they are saving the district $350 per attendee. So that's $1,050 total. And they take part in all aspects of the experience, especially sessions that are held later in the afternoon and evening, and the opportunity to network with individuals from around the state in the Monday PAECT event and Tuesday night networking event as well. And representatives from the district, valuable trends and new initiatives can be available to our district and students. Next, we have National Conference of Social Studies recommendation made to approve an overnight conference request for Eric Gimby Jr. and David Raymond, middle school social studies teachers. They plan to attend the 103rd National Conference of Social Studies in Nashville, December 1st through the 3rd, 2023. This conference will address inclusive social studies. Starting at home, social studies is local, collaboration in social studies transcending borders and seeking connections, and the future of social studies. They will leave the conference with strong strategies for delivering instruction that engages students the best ways to advocate for the most pressing issues of social studies education, and a network of colleagues to support you throughout the year. And the approximate cost, which includes registration, lodging, transportation, and parking and meals, is $1,900. It will be paid through the building budget. A substitute for each teacher will be required for 1 day. That is it for that. Then the next we have Black Student Union Student Activity Bylaws. Attached is a new high school student activity club bylaws that is attached. Organization follows policy 915 club school organizations, and that is in the form of an attachment. Next, we have esports high school student activity bylaws as well. And again, that's in the form of an attachment. Next, we have overnight conference report, Renaissance. Dr. Sika and Mrs. Ryan prepared the attached report from the Renaissance conference. And then finally, I have a student expulsion. We have a student number listed who will be expelled effective October 6th through December 14th of this year.
That's also in the form of a motion. Yes,
I apologize. Yes, in the form of a motion as well. Any questions or comments?
If I could just add one note. So the Black Student Union and the esports, that is as a report this time and will be a motion at the next meeting.
Okay.
The piece is if you get the opportunity to take a look at the overnight conference report that they prepared, it's a pretty good report.
All right, that ends my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Buildings and grounds, Mr. Kremlik.
Thank you. Tonight there is 4 items listed. 12.1 is the use of facilities. So you can see the list of organizations that will be using our facility. 12.2, result of Conewago Elementary chiller bid. This will be in the form of a motion. So we held an open bid on October 10th, and it was for 3 prime contractors, a general contractor, an HVAC, and electrical. So as you can see, based on the bids, the recommendation is to go with CB Construction Services for the general contractor, Hostler Enterprise for the HVAC, and then Orbit Technology Services for the electrical contractor. 12.3 is the middle school columns. It will be in the form of a motion. This was a quote for White Rose services for $11,500. It also comes with a 2-year warranty. And then 12.4, which will also be in the form of a motion, deals with Gingrich Excavating. They'll be repairing and repaving the driveway along the stadium. The amount is $9,047. And then also they will be performing repair and update to the configuration along the upper stadium fence, which will make it easier for people to park and safer for people to walk on, and that will run $13,487. And you guys can see the 2 attachments there as well. Is there any questions or comments? If not, that ends my report.
Thank you, Mr. Kramnik. And then your report for the high school renovations, please.
There is no formal report tonight.
Thank you. Finance and personnel, Vanessa.
Thank you. There are 14 items tonight. The first 4 will be motions, and they are our accounts payable information. We have a conference for Mr. Pratt that he actually has happened already, correct? And so that we're just approving that in retrospect, I guess we could say. So as it says written. 14.6 is Act 1 index letter from the PDE. Would you like to comment on that, Mr. Geller?
Taxes could go up as much as 1.93 mils. So I really doubt that would be the case. So this allows the district most likely to take a look at, and the recommendation most likely would be to opt out of the Act 1 timeline. It's an accelerated timeline, which you're going to see in 14.7, and would allow the board to vote on a tax resolution that would say the maximum tax increase could be 7.2% or 1.93 mils. And the district, in all the years I've been here, I don't think I've ever raised taxes to that level. But the reason why that's there is the inflation has been so high.
Thank you. The next item would be the Act 1 budget timeline, which is a little different than we have had in the past. So go ahead, if you could talk on that.
So because there is a presidential election coming up in November of 24, primary this year, you have to go so many days before that. And that is moved up in a presidential election. So the timeline that we have together with, we didn't advertise for this, so there was no cost incurred, but the timeline we've been using internally for our first Finance and Personnel Committee meeting is after when the tax resolution will be due to the Pennsylvania Department of Education. So looking at the calendar, the recommendation is to move the January 8th Finance and Personnel meeting to an open meeting night, December 11th.
And that would just cancel the January 8th completely then. Is that correct?
That would be up to the board.
We don't know who's going to be, so.
Right. So I don't know if you want to cancel it this time or just
kind of hold on it.
I think it'd be important to have the board, if the school board's willing to do December 11th. I know Tiffany will be definitely sitting here. So, and hopefully several others.
Tiffany keeps laughing about the whole thing. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Weaver. I should have, sorry about that.
So we'll see. We'll have to wait and see with that one. Thank you, Mr. Geller. For the number 8 would be the bid offered on the district property, which will help if once it's sold, it will put it back on the tax records, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
It's a vacant lot right now.
So a little bit is better than nothing.
Correct.
Letters of resignation and retirement will follow there's leave of absences as presented on the agenda. We have several, professional positions and which will all be motions that are on the agenda, so you can read through them. We also have the appointment of classified position, which is one. Two, excuse me. Yes, no, one. And then we have the substitute list and the volunteers list, which are attachments and will be motions as well. Any questions? That ends my report.
Thank you. I'm going to handle the Athletic and Activities Committee report. There's one report this evening regarding appointments to extracurricular and co-curricular positions. It's also in the form of a motion. Does anybody have any questions about that report? Moving on to transportation, I will handle that as well. There's a report tonight attached, the Director of Transportation, the October 2023 report. Any questions about that report this evening? Hearing none, Mrs. Rick,
I have no report tonight.
thank you. York County School of Technology Joint Operating Committee, York County School of Technology Authority Board. Mr. Jackson's not here, but Mr. Geller provided us an update regarding the budget earlier. Thank you, Mr. Geller. York Adams Academy, Mrs. Marshall's not here, but we heard from Mrs. Ackerman, the Director of York Adams. Great report this evening. Northeastern Foundation, I was unable to make it. Mrs. Weaver, you attended in my absence. Thank you very much. You attached a brief report. Anything you'd like to highlight? Okay. Please refer to the attached report. Any questions? Moving on, Lincoln Intermediate 12, Vanessa.
Thank you. We did have a meeting on the 3rd. Just a couple highlights that I wanted to mention is that they are starting to work on the budget, which they're hoping to have finished very shortly. And it will be out to the districts between January 3rd and March 31st for us to review and to also vote on it to get it back to them. So that is the plan at this time. There is a legislation session coming up in New Oxford, like you had last year, and that is on the December 18, and that's at 9 o'clock. And you would need to register if anybody would be interested in going. It's usually superintendents and people like that. So I thought Dr. Larry might be interested in something like that. Some of the things that they're working on facility wise is just like us. They're working on looking how to increase their safety. So they've been doing that. They also have had now with their tech side, they have what they call a VR. It's VR tech. Don't ask me. I haven't. Oh, that's that thing where you observe, and they're utilizing that to augment their learning processes. And they think that it's going to make a huge interesting process for these students, to be able, all students to be able to use this. I go like this because it's that weird white thing that they wear. I don't know. They also have a STEM lending library that can be used for a variety of technology to be borrowed through them, and that'll help which will help supplement even more. So I think they're getting a lot more things, and so that's going to help supplement what's going on with technology wise. So they're just busy.
And Mrs. Jafrida, she shared the report that you referred to at the last board meeting, correct? PDF, Vanessa, the one you passed around,
Oh, yes, she did.
annual
Yes,
report,
the annual
which was
report.
really
I'm sorry. I had to think a minute which one you were talking
I
about.
was looking at their numbers, like the books. It's impressive.
It is. It's very impressive. I think in the last few years, you have seen a tremendous uptake in what they do and how they present it to people. And I think they've changed their course more to be, they're yes for education, but they're also very entrepreneurial also in some of the things. Which gives an advantage, I think, to some of the districts for some of the things that they bring to them. So I'm very proud of the work they do too. So.
And thank you for sharing that report with us. Moving on to the York Learning Center Joint Authority Board, Vanessa.
There's no report. I gave that last time.
Thank you. Board members, we're up to action items 23.1 through 23.18. Are there any action items any board members would like pulled? None? I'm looking for a motion to approve all action items 23.1 through 23.18.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion. All those in favor, please say yes.
yes.
Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on, treasurer's report, Vanessa.
Thank you. The treasure, it's going to be in the form of a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented with in the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second,
Discussion?
Just want to give one comment. So when you look at the treasurer's report, it has $29.5 million sitting in the general fund as at the end of September, earning 0.65%. So Friday, Lee and I were able to get $20 million moved from Truist to a bank account in the Bahamas. No, I'm kidding. To an account at,
I really wish you wouldn't kid about that. though.
I shouldn't kid about that stuff. I really shouldn't. I'm supposed to be serious.
a
So
little
we moved $20 million to PISLAF. We did confirm that the $20 million was received by PISLAF, 9 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to have a discussion adding $5 million. Like I said, there's going to be a portfolio put together, $25 million for the general fund monies through it, and we're going to invest in PISLAF. And I will give you the results of that after the fact. But the idea is we're going to use time and ladder out 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and keep some current so that as monies are coming due to make expenditures, they'll be coming due. But instead of earning 0.65%, we'll be earning closer to 5.4%.
Great.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Geller, that's taxpayer money that we, are going, you're taking great care of it. Going from 0.65 to 5+%. I mean, that's going to be big money to us. We greatly appreciate that you took the initiative to make that maneuver to you and Leah. So thank you very much. Okay, we had a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
That ends the
Thank you. Board members, we're up to old business. Is there any old business board members would like to bring forward?
yes, I have two items. The first item I would like to address is I know last meeting during the academic affairs, we discussed the PACE survey. So thank you to admin for making sure that we sent out, I seen on like Facebook and so forth, and the messages I assume through Sapphire to each of the families. Yeah, so thank you for that. As reviewing the questions for in the future, though, I still don't understand some of the validity of some of the questions for the younger based, the younger grades, the 4 and 6. I don't know, the educational based and so forth. So something to look at in the future, when we go through it. But I think, giving everyone the opportunity, and we're giving plenty of notices, sending them out there for them to take their child out of it, I think is great. So thank you.
Certainly, and Mr. Kramlich, just to make sure that everyone's aware, and the social media posting did clarify that every email I receive to opt out, I respond to, acknowledging receipt and then sharing that with the building principal and the teacher. I also just want to mention, I think that some parents realize this and others didn't. When you request the questions from PACE directly, if you give you the grade level, you find that 4th grade actually has very different questions. Did you know that there were different ones? Okay. So for a lot of parents, no. For some parents, that made a difference for them once they got the right questions. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you. The second piece is these comments are that of my own and not the Northeastern School District or the Board of School Directors that sit here with me tonight. I would first like to thank the entire staff for their hard work and dedication on a successful start to the 2023-2024 school year. It is great to see students achieving their individual successes each and every day. We are fortunate to have a very strong and student-focused team. We as a district, are we perfect? Absolutely not. However, I never heard of anyone on the current or past leadership team say that we were. I haven't heard of any school district, business, or government entity that is perfect. Do we have areas of opportunity to grow and learn from the past? Absolutely. I am confident that the hard work of our staff will continue to have a long-lasting positive impact and grow the number of successes that we see across the district each and every day. In the national and local media, school boards in the upcoming election have been in the headlines. The amount of money from political parties and political action committees being poured into these races are at an all-time high. I was approached back in April about being endorsed by a local strong conservative political action committee and decided against it because morally I felt that as an individual in one of these board seats, we need to sign a pledge to all students, staff members, and taxpayers, and not a pledge to a group of donors. The individuals on these mailers that I'm sure we're all receiving that are being sent to our home signed a pledge to a political action committee that to some or many consider extremist ideologies with actions such as banning books, cutting curricular programs, and putting in policies that many consider discriminatory. It is ironic that they state about bringing excellence and transparency back to our classrooms. We were recently ranked in the top 5 in the county by US Today and World News academically, and they are also endorsing a candidate that was arrested for an incident that I will describe shortly. We need leaders that are committed to putting the time in, continue with our fiscal conservative budgeting, and be willing to listen to others that might not have the same viewpoints as our own. We experienced how electing individuals that were of an extremist mindset worked out in the last election, with them quitting before the school year ended. What were the results? A lot of false accusations that came up unfounded. I personally feel that even with some of us on the current board that have different beliefs, we work to solutions in a respectful manner that has a positive impact on our school district. When making decisions, some considered unpopular, we have to take into account that it impacts everyone and not just the individuals that may have the same type of beliefs as our own. We need to continue to get the community involved and active like we had with the search of our new superintendent, as well as continue to work on holding all parties more accountable. I would like to address the recent right to know request that I have submitted involving a bus incident that took place last March. To be transparent, when I was told about the incident and viewed the video shortly after it took place, I was not aware of the identity of the individuals that were involved. The 50-second video that I received through the right to know request was of one of our school buses pulled over to address a behavioral issue. While the buses stopped, 2 adults approached the bus and forced their way onto it even after the bus driver made them aware that they could not enter. One of these individuals is a current candidate running in the same region as myself. I do not feel that actions and behaviors of the 2 individuals, including entering the bus without authorization, dropping the F-bomb in front of a bus full of intermediate age and younger students, is appropriate or befitting of a member of the school board or leadership of this district, no matter what the circumstance. This brings to light the issue that not only Northeastern is seeing, but across the country. Parents need to set a better example for their children. In this incident, these 2 adults' actions provided a viewpoint that is okay to not respect the bus driver and follow the instructions given. At the end of the clip, the comments made by the adults about not yelling at the driver and making his job any easier are the exact opposite of their actions seconds before. Extreme actions by individuals like this need and will continue to be held accountable, such as being charged with disorderly conduct. We, as a board member, are to be held to a higher moral and ethical standard. What's next? Just enter any school or classroom yelling at staff with a room full of students? In closing, we need to continue to focus on moving our district forward with growing the opportunities for our students while being good stewards of our neighbors' tax dollars. As our new superintendent, Jason Baudelaire, states, we need to continue to focus on building better Bobcats. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kramlich. Any additional old business? Hearing none, moving on to new business. Board members, is there any new business you'd like to bring forward? Hearing none, attached is a meeting event schedule for your convenience. There is an item for no items for distribution this evening. We're up to our last public comment period for items on and off the agenda. None received. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, please say yes.
yes.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.